Okay, Algebra 1. Sorry this took a little bit longer. I actually did a lesson, and I got to this problem right here. And when I was working it out, I got something different than Ignitia. When I went back and looked at it, I actually disagree with Ignitia's answer. And I'll show you why here in just a minute on this one. So if you want to see why I disagree with Ignitia, stick around to the last problem, all right? Okay. So a couple things that I wanted to remind you of. All right, so when we're dividing variables with exponents, we have y to the ninth and y to the seventh. So just forget about this problem. Let me actually just work a much simpler problem. Let's take a to the 10th divided by a to the 6th. And let me just remind you how these work. Okay, and then let's take b to the 4th times b to the 5th. All right, so when we're dividing variables that with exponents, the base, which is the a here, stays the same. The base stays the same, and we subtract the exponents, so 10 minus 6. So this gives us a to the 4th, okay? Now, when we multiply, which we're not multiplying in this lesson, but it's going to be the opposite there. Obviously, this is going to, so the base is going to stay the same, and when you multiply, instead of subtracting, you add the exponents. So this becomes b to the ninth. Okay, so I'm going to do one more. Let's do a couple more division just to make sure you got the hang of this. Okay, so if we have r to the 10th divided by r to the 8th, well, that's the same. That equals r to the 10th to the 10 minus 8th power, which is r squared. So the way you can just look at it is the base stays the same, and then 10 minus 8 is 2, so r to the 2nd power. All right. E to the 9th, that's an e to the 9th divided by e to the 2nd gives us e to the 7th. Okay, see how that works? Okay, so just a review on how that works. All right, so when we start throwing in numerical values or numerical coefficients, I like to rewrite these types of problems as a fraction. So 36 y to the 9th divided by 4y to the 7th, okay? All right, and then, so these can cancel, and I'm left with a 9 in the numerator and then a 1 down here, which really don't need to write the 1, but I did. So in my answer, I'm going to have a 9 in the numerator. Now I've got y to the 9th divided by y to the 7th. Okay, so remember, y to the 9th divided by y to the 7th. We subtract. So what's 9 minus 7? 2. Okay, now, because the larger denominator, so between y to the 9th and y to the 7th, y to the 9th is larger, and it's in the numerator, my answer stays in the numerator. So so when I take y to the 9th minus y to the 7th, you get y to the 2nd. And that y to the 2nd is going to be up in the numerator. Okay, so basically everything in the denominator has reduced down to 1, which is just the same as 9y squared. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. The next one, okay, so we have 4y to the 7th divided by 36y to the 9th. Okay, so what we want to do is, and I didn't really clarify this in this problem up here, but what I'm doing is first I'm dealing with my numerical values, my numbers. Okay, so 4 over 36 reduces down to 1 over 9. Okay, so in my answer, I'm going to have 1/9. Okay, after I deal with these numbers, then I deal separately with my variables. Okay, now, y to the 9th and y to the 7th. Now, let me show you how you can also look at this. If we took y to the 7th and we factored that out, so y times y times y times y times y times y times y. okay, over, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So y to the 7th, and I put y to the 9th down here. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So look what happens. These cancel, these cancel, these cancel. So y divided by y divided by y. They're canceling out, right? Those all cancel out, and I'm left with y squared down here. Okay, so another way you can think about that is just go, okay, 9 minus 7, so y to the 9th minus y to the 7th. I subtract the exponents, so 9 minus 7 is 2. And remember how up here I said how the larger exponent was in the numerator, so the answer stayed up here in the numerator? Well, down here it's going to be opposite. The larger exponent's in the denominator, so the y squared, what's left over, goes to the denominator. So, and that would be my answer to that. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, so negative 50, a to the 7th, b cubed, c squared, divided by negative 30, a c squared. Okay, all right. So first of all, I don't know if you remember this, but when you're dividing, so remember, we're going to take each one and deal with them. Actually, the b cubed doesn't have anything that it's matched up with, so we'll just deal with the, we're going to deal with this, then we're going to deal with this. This is just going to be up here, and then we'll deal with this, okay? All right, so let's just look right here. Whenever you're dividing by powers of 10, which is what these are, numbers that end in 0, I can just treat this, I can just lose those zeros right there. So this is actually just like 5/3. And also, this is a negative divided by negative, so my answer will be positive. So this just reduces down to 5/3. Okay, now, a to the 7th divided by a to the 1st, well, remember, your a stays the same, so that's a 7th minus 1. So that's a to the 6th. Now, where should that go? Well, since a to the 7th, the higher power is in the numerator, the a to the 6th is going to stay up in the numerator. Now, b cubed doesn't have anything that it's being divided with, so it just stays where it's at. And then notice the c squared and the c squared, they just cancel each other out. So this is your final answer. Okay? All right. 2 more. I'll show you why I disagree with Ignition on this. All right, so first of all, we're going to distribute, okay? So that's going to be, 3n plus 24. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring this subtraction sign down. Bear with me just one second. I want to make sure I'm on the same page with Ignition on this one as well, okay? I think so. All right. So then we're just going to bring this subtraction sign down. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and divide here. Okay, so we're going to take 8n divided by 2, and that gives us 4n. And then we're going to take 6 divided by 2, and that's going to give us 3. Okay, hang on one second. I'm looking at this example real quick. Yeah, okay. And these stay grouped together, okay? Okay, so scoot that up just a little bit. So far we distributed here, and then we divided, we took 8n divided by 2 gave us 4n, and 6 divided by 2 gave us positive 3, okay? All right, now we need to go ahead and distribute this this negative 1 right here, right? Remember, you have a understood coefficient of 1 there. So that's going to give you negative 4n minus 3. And then over here, you're going to have 3n plus 24. All right. Okay, now we just combine like terms. All right, so 3n minus 4n gives you negative n, or negative 1n. So we've combined those. And then 24 minus 3 gives you positive 21. So you get negative n plus 21. All right, now this is the one that I disagreed with Ignitia on, and the reason I had to make a new video. But I'm just going to go ahead and stay with what I had to begin with. Okay, so we're going to start off from the inside here. All right, we're going to divide. This tells me 18a cubed minus 6a squared divided by negative 2a. So we're going to start off with that. All right, so 18. So deal with your numbers first. Okay, so what's 18 divided by negative 2? What's negative 9? Okay, now deal with your coefficient. I'm sorry, with your variables and your exponents. A cubed divided by a. So remember, that's a cubed minus 1, because you got a understood exponent of 1 there, right? So when you're dividing, your base stays the same, and you subtract the exponent. So that's going to be a squared. Okay? So we divided. Now we're going to take this and divide by that, right? So negative 6 divided by negative 2 gives me positive 3. And a squared minus a to the first just gives me a, okay? So I've divided all this, and I still have these brackets here. I'm just going to rewrite everything that I haven't done yet. All right, so I still have this 5 here. I still have this 5 and this negative here, okay? All right. Now, next step is we're gonna distribute this. Now, this is where I disagreed with Ignitia. So let me bring this over here. Let me show you why. With the example that Ignitia did, they do distribute, but notice that they leave that bracket there. They leave the bracket. Well, when you distribute, that's how you remove the grouping symbol. You're supposed to, after they distributed this, they were supposed to remove that grouping symbol right there, and that changes it. So we're going to distribute this 5 like this, that times that, and then that times that. And what that does, that's supposed to remove those brackets. So everything's still going to be inside, because we haven't removed these grouping symbols yet. Okay, we haven't even touched this yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these brackets. So 5 times negative 9a squared gives me negative 45a squared. And then 5 times 3a gives me positive 15a. Okay, well, remember, we're working from the inside out. So the next thing we need to do, all right, so check out what we've done. Check out what we've done. We start off by dividing, and we got this. Okay, then we distributed, and in distributing, we actually removed, by distributing that 5, that's how you remove that grouping symbol right there. Now, if you don't remove the grouping symbol, then you end up taking this divided by 3a and this divided by 3a, because this is seen as one group. But right now, without that grouping symbol, I'm just going to take, I'm gonna do my order of operations. Okay, so I couldn't even add these if I wanted to, because they're not like terms, but 15a divided by 3a gives me, okay, so check it out. So 15a divided by 3a, the a's would cancel out, and I'm left with 5. So it gives me a positive 5 here. So this divided by this gives me this. And then negative 45 a squared just kind of comes down here. There's nothing that can be combined with. So I just combined everything in here, or I worked out, I simplified is what I should say. I simplified within the brackets, which is what you're supposed to do. Okay. Now what should we do? Okay, so now remember we got that understood coefficient of 1. I'm going to distribute this -1 to both the terms inside the brackets there. So it's going to give me 45a squared. So -1 times -45a squared gives me positive 45a squared. And -1 times positive 5 gives me -5. And then check it out. I've got this 5 over here. That's a positive 45a squared, so I'm just going to put that positive right in front of it. And you've got 5 and the -5 that cancel out, and you're left with 45a squared. Okay, so I actually disagree with what Ignitia came up with. Ignitia, see what happens with Ignitia, the way they did it, they didn't, after they distribute that 5, they don't remove the grouping symbol. Then they went -45a squared divided by 3a gives you -15a, and 15a divided by -3a gives you 5. Well, that changes everything from what we did. Okay, and I actually believe that this is correct right here. Okay, so hopefully this is a help to you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. See you Wednesday.